What do you think that now that you guys are older and have seen a little bit more, if you could talk to your teachers in terms of helping them help the new students coming through, what would you tell them? What advice would you give teachers now?
I would say, because like most like let's say like white kids, they can afford tutors and stuff, which are really expensive, and Hispanics can't really afford that because their parents are like doing 2 full-time jobs at like restaurants, and it's not very easy for them. And like they just like take it easy on the kids. Like if they need help, just try to help them out because they can't afford like the really expensive tutors and stuff.
I don't know if campus has like any after school helping clubs. I'm not sure. At least when I came here, I don't believe we had any after school clubs that would help you do homework. So if you guys have that, that's pretty good. I mean, just make it be known to the Hispanic community that they have that. And I mean, you guys have after school buses, so.
I think that reaching out to a student is really important to not make it all about race. I remember in elementary school, I went to High Plains, and I used to be given tests in Spanish before a teacher knew me because they looked at my last name. And so I think it was kind of weird because I was so young, but from then on, every time I would get those papers that are like, Hispanics meet, or something, just like with Alma, but in elementary school and middle school, I would take it sort of insulting. It's like, oh, I need help because I'm Hispanic. You think I'm not smart? And even now, in my AP class, I get bullied for being the only Hispanic and how I have probably the worst grade in the class because I'm Hispanic. But I think that if you make you reaching out to the student not about them being a certain type of person, then it'll work so much better. Because now, no matter who approaches me or how they want to help me, I don't automatically assume it's because they think that I'm not smart. I think it's because they care. So it's all about the approach.
Yeah, to what she said, I don't think teachers should just assume or try to help you just because you're Hispanic. I think they should try to help every student equally because they're struggling, not just try to help a Hispanic student because they're Hispanic. They should help just because you're struggling and you need help, and because they actually care and they want to help you, not just because they see you're Hispanic and you might need help. Or even if you're doing good and they're still going to help you, they should help all the students equally, not just from the race.
In the classroom, what advice would you give the teachers? And I heard a little bit about treating, but just the whole overall experience in the classroom. What are your thoughts on that?
In my opinion, it's because I know they do subjects on immigration and stuff. And I feel Hispanic kids just feel really uncomfortable when they do those things. Because all the kids, that's when you find out which kids are not racist, but they say racial comments that are oh wait, I thought we were friends. And I feel just going over those type of topics are just not correct at that age.
Okay.
Well, I think it's actually okay to go over those topics, but I would try to steer away on focusing on that one kid. So that's hard to do, actually. I just know reading books. Last year we read this book called Tortilla Curtain in my AP class, and I was the only Hispanic in there. So it was hard not to talk about it because that was the book we had to read. But I think oh man, this is so hard.
Is it because you then become the expert, or every question goes to you?
Yeah, at
It's
some
an
point.
unspoken attention towards
But
Yeah.
when they ask you questions on that, it's not really legit questions. They're just doing something racist against you. They're oh, do you know how to make tortillas because you're Mexican or stuff like that? That's what happens in classrooms and stuff. And you really can't control that since it's all about the book, like she said.
Is it something, and that's a great point. I mean, is it something we need to then be real real cognizant of how we do it, because we should still read that book. I mean, it's a great book, but be real. I don't know what the word is, but real careful of how we do it, so we're not alienating, or that we're respectful of each other.
I feel like when they do stuff like that, they should also point out that Mexicans and Hispanics aren't the only immigrants in the United States. There is Asian immigrants, there's African American immigrants, there's everything. But everyone, when they say immigrants, everyone looks towards the Mexicans.
What advice would you give people that look like you and others, right? So, in other words, we call students of color. What advice would you give them that are in these hallways now, that are sitting in the chairs that you once sat in? What advice could you give them?
Just like don't take the stuff too serious. I mean, it's just like if someone says a comment, just like don't be mean to them back, but make a comment back and just laugh about it with them. Because if you laugh about it with them, it's not really they're gonna be like, oh, that didn't hurt you. Okay, I won't do it again. Because what people really look for when they're bullying people is they just want to hurt you. And if you're not hurt with what they say, they move on to their next victim.
And I think maybe going on, not on bullies, but maybe in a classroom setting, if you feel like a teacher's just asking you to, if you need help, kind of never be mean to a teacher, but just be like, no, thank you, I'm good. Or, I just lost my train of thought. I would just tell the children that, don't take anything all the way to heart. You'll get over it. You'll one day be a senior. You might even be best friends with the person who bullied you. And you'll just look back and kind of laugh at it. Because things come and go. So.
Like, I just want to give a quick example. My little brother right now, he's in elementary school, and he's going through this so much. Like, he says that kids laugh at him because he's Hispanic.
And that he's poor.
And that he's poor. I mean, we're not poor. We're not going to buy him, like, the things they have just because he wants them. Because he has to learn how to earn stuff. But he thinks that just because he's Hispanic, he's, like, worse than them. And I'm like, dude, just, like, calm down. You'll get to middle school, and then high school will just be fun. And, like, because he's just taking it way too serious.
And he's only 10.
But he's only 10.
I would tell them not to worry because it's all okay eventually. I remember thinking that I was never going to make it out of middle school. And I was just going to be stuck in a place where I was unhappy. But if you let certain occurrences shape you in the right way, then it all works out. And you become better. So I guess you can't control a lot of things that happen to you. Just like we're talking about teachers in the classroom setting, they have to teach this to us. And it's not, they have less control than we think, so we can't tell them to change certain things because it's not all their fault. They're just there to help us learn. And a lot of the times it's not the way the teacher is teaching something to where it affects the students. It's the people around and the mood that's created in the classroom with a certain subject. I've personally never felt uncomfortable with the subject, but immigration has never been, I can't really think of a time where it's been brought up and people are like look straight at me or the attention's put on me. But looking back at middle school, what I would tell myself is not to worry. So that's what I tell them.
Anybody else?
I mean, I was never really bothered by the jokes. I would just laugh and then move on. But I don't know, I just never had like that problem. I never thought I was like worse than people because I was Hispanic. I took pride in it. I don't know. But I don't know, I never felt bad whenever someone said a joke.
For me, it wasn't really a joke. People never did like jokes. They to my friends and I, they always kind of said something just to like make us fight with them, or like they would say that other girls were saying stuff about us just so we could like go and fight them, or so they could start an argument. So it was never really a joke that they would tell us, and we couldn't like, since it wasn't a joke or they weren't trying to like make fun of us, we couldn't just brush it off. So it was just harder for us to kind of like stay calm and ignore it.
I also want to say that when it comes to all this, there is a point where you should just stop keeping it in with you. I think you should always find that adult that you can go to and talk to and be able to just like spill everything you feel, because it's really nice to have someone there at the end of the day that you can be like, you know, this happened to me, can I talk to you about it? And then they can listen. So.
When you look back at middle school and up to where you are now in high school, and I'll put those together. What are we missing here? There's one thing you wanted to add. What would it be? And what are we missing about you, or, you know, that would make this better?
I feel like it can be made better. It's just the kids are they come when they're like they're 11 when they come here.
Yeah.
So when they come here, they start like seeing that people start like wearing Aeropostale or Hollister, and they want to fit in. So they start doing it. You can't do anything about that. I mean, that's always going to be there. And about like the racism stuff, I think it's just kids try to like when kids are racist, I think it's just to make everyone laugh. They don't really mean it. It's just they do it to be like the cooler kid, and I don't think much can be done about that until the kid grows up and notices like what he's been doing wrong.
I think. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, like he said, it's not really about the teachers, more about the kids, but I guess teachers should just know how to handle that situation. So whenever like they see something like that happening or hear about it, when the kids are in the hallway talking about it, when they hear about it, I think they should all see how they could fix it. Because most teachers, I guess they can't really control, or they don't know how to, so they kind of just ignore it. So they should like try to see how they could fix it.
I think academically wise, I believe that teachers should try to encourage students to take like the next level of a certain class. Because I know that at Creek, that's even a problem. We have African Americans and Hispanics have the lowest AP
Participate.
Yeah, so, and that starts in middle school when you start taking your honors classes. So I believe that teachers should give a Hispanic child a chance to try an honors class. I mean, I heard Hispanics have math and science in their blood, so maybe start there. Or if they're good at reading, maybe start in English. So, because that's what would help them once they get to high school to start doing AP classes.
Anything else we haven't asked that you guys want to put on the table?
About parents, maybe. So like, if like, cause school isn't easy, especially with like all the other kids that are making fun of you or like you're struggling with your academics. I think like parents should understand that, cause sometimes they just make it so much harder with like doing stuff at home, or if you're just like really tired like emotionally or like mentally, and then they just kind of, their criticism sometimes just adds to it, and I think that's what they don't understand. Even like in any grade, in middle school or in high school, it's just so hard, and I don't think parents understand that.
I understand that too because my dad's always pushing me to do better, but he dropped out in 7th grade at a school in Columbia where they didn't really do that much. He had to drop out to work, and but like but he always he doesn't understand like that it's hard. He just thinks that all you have to do is study and do like some of the homework and you'll get an A, and that'll be it. And they don't understand like sometimes you make mistakes. They just they treat it like it's like a system and there's like a straight line to success, but it's not.